Hi, boys and girls. Today we're going to be working on page 255 and 256. The title of our lesson is Imaginative Instructions. Well, I want you to go back a little bit to a time when you were much younger, when you were a little kid and you were spread out all over your floor playing with your toys. You may have had some dinosaurs, some Legos, some little people, some little horses, some dogs, or whatnot, and you were using your toys and coming up with this great story, the story that you were acting out with your little toys, and you were using your imagination. You were maybe some other land, or maybe you were imagining you being part of that world that you were creating. Well, what you were doing, you were using your imagination. God has given each of us a creative ability, you see, to think about things that we cannot see, taste, touch, hear, or smell. Using this ability is called using the imagination. For without the imagination, nothing new would ever be invented, written, or made. All the men and women throughout history had to use their imaginations to come up with the great things that they've created over time. We have to be able to see a finished product in our minds and then find a way to make it become a reality. God, the great creator, has allowed us this ability as part of being made in his image. Today we're going to be reading a story by a little girl named Gabrielle who wrote some instructions on how to ride a whale. We're right here on our paper, and I'm going to begin reading. Would you like to go for a ride on the back of a whale? You could see the undersea world as you never have before. Whales are not hard to ride if you follow a few simple instructions. You will need a can of tuna fish, a wetsuit, goggles, scuba diving equipment, and an underwater camera. First, you will need to catch the whale so that you can get onto its back. Whales like the deepest part of the ocean, so you will need to put on the wetsuit, goggles, and scuba diving equipment. Dive into the ocean as deep as possible. Then open the can of tuna and begin making whale noises. Whale noises are similar to a human scream. A whale will soon smell the tuna and come toward you. When he does, quickly swim over and grab his flipper. The second step is getting up onto the whale's back. Whales are wet and slippery, so this can be a little bit tricky. Grasping the whale's flipper to keep your balance, climb up its side and quickly flop down on your stomach. Press your legs tightly against the whale's sides to hang on. Because the whale has lots of soft blubber, this will not hurt it. Now you are on board the whale. Sit up and enjoy the ride. You can control the direction the whale goes by pressing one side or the other with your knees. If you press the whale's left side, it will turn right. If you press its right side, it will turn left. There is no way to get a better view of life under the sea than by taking a whale ride. Be sure to take lots of pictures. So we just finished these instructions by Gabrielle, and I want to ask you a couple questions. How did Gabrielle get the reader's attention with the opening sentence? Well, she asked a thought-provoking question. She said, "Would you like to go for a ride on the back of a whale?" I'd say that was pretty thought-provoking. I mean, there's lots of us that would say yes. And so she grabbed everybody's attention that way. At what point in the instructions did she tell what materials would be needed? This was also in the first paragraph, and this is the introduction. This first paragraph is the introduction to the instructions that she's given to us. How many paragraphs did it take her to explain the process of catching and riding the whale? Well, if you look right here in the second one, she gives us the first instructions on this process of catching it and riding it. And then here's the second instructions, the second step, and then the third step. So there were three paragraphs. What do you think the purpose of her closing paragraph is? And that is right here. This is the closing or the conclusion. this is where she sums up and concludes the instructions. So Gabrielle had three basic parts to her explanation: catching the well, getting on the well, and controlling the well's direction while riding it. How many paragraphs did she use to tell about each part of the instructions? Okay, she used one paragraph for each part of the instructions. Okay, how many well, actually, does this organization make sense? Yes, it follows an outline. This is the first thing you do, the second thing you do, and the third thing you do. Okay, so how would you describe the tone or the mood of these instructions? Do you think they're serious, or do you think they're kind of humorous? Well, I would say they're kind of humorous because hanging on to this big whale under the sea, I would say that's pretty humorous. It sounds like it would be a lot of fun, but it sounds a little bit humorous. Well, we're going to be working on some of our own instructions during this chapter. We're on chapter 14, and we're going to be writing or creating some instructions on how to do something. The first thing that we're going to talk about, we're going to go up to the very top, and it says, have you ever imagined a new kind of machine that would do some chore for you? How would you make that machine? And what materials would you use, and how would you put them together? Well, I would say that there's probably many of us in fifth grade that have some chores at home that we do not enjoy, whether it's folding your clothes and putting them away, whether it's emptying the dishwasher or putting the dishes into the dishwasher, carrying the trash out, maybe cleaning our bathrooms or whatnot. There's probably many more that I did not just name, but this is your opportunity that you could come up with a machine to help you do that chore that you dislike so much. Or there's another option. How about this one right here? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to do something unusual or even ridiculous, such as training a walrus to live in your house or growing a rainforest in your backyard? You would definitely need to use your imagination for this. And so I would say that the how to ride a whale would fall in this category. So we're going to flip our paper over to page 256. This is your opportunity to work on one of these options. You don't have to do both of them. You can choose which one you want to. There's the first choice right here, and then there's the second choice at the bottom. So, how do you think Gabrielle got the idea for instructions? Maybe she was interested in sea life, or perhaps she has always thought she would like to ride a whale. What are you interested in doing? Or what are you interested in making, even if it would be impossible in real life? So, right here is the job or household chore idea. And it says, get your imagination in gear by answering the following questions. When you answer these questions, you do not need to use complete sentences. This is just a planning page right here. So, what job or household chore do you dislike? You can list that there. Imagine a machine that could do this job for you. How would this machine work? Don't just say it would fold my clothes. I want be a little bit more creative. Imagine how it would do that. What materials would you need to make this machine? So this is where you're going to be creative. Use that imagination. Think the process through. Be able to see the end of your creation. And number two, if you would like to choose this possible selection, it says, what impossible thing have you always wished you could do? Maybe you wish that you could time travel or go to Mars and walk around Mars, or like space travel. Gabrielle, she wrote about traveling on a whale or riding a whale in the deep ocean. So maybe you have imagined a like I said, well, there's all kinds of possibilities. So just think about what you want to do and what you've always wished that you could do, and you can write it in this section. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message and I will try to get back with you. And I hope you guys have a great day. I look forward to seeing your answers, and I'll talk to you later.